Hi. One of the questions that I get the most in the C++ courses that I teach is how to zip up a project from Visual Studio for submission. I get that question every term, every time I teach a course in it, and it's a pretty good question. People want to get their stuff graded. So what I'm going to walk through here is how to zip up a simple submission in Visual Studio using an Oporto desktop. This is exactly the same thing that you would do if you have Visual Studio installed locally. And get to the zip file that you need in order to be able to upload for grading. Right here, we have a simple Visual Studio C++ program. This is the console application with scaffolding that you can create from the new project menu. I haven't added anything to it. It's just a simple hello world application. This, whether it's just one file, this C++ file, or there's a dozen header files and other source code files that you've created, this will zip it all up together. The first thing that we want to do is we want to right click on the solution in the Solution Explorer and go to Open Folder in File Explorer. That's going to open up the location of our project here. You can see here that going up one level takes us to the top level of the project. One more takes us to the top level of the solution. If your project has the project and solution in the same folder, you won't see that double stack. A lot of projects that you create, you're probably going to select that box to put them in the same folder because it simplifies the file structure. But whichever way you go, we want to go to the top level of that. So this project was named Submission Example. We are in the demo directory, which is where I've been creating projects for these videos. And Submission Example is the only thing that's in here right now. We've got all the way to the top. We have the entire folder. I've got it selected here. Now, in Oporto, or on your local machine, if you have 7-zip installed, which I heavily recommend, the easiest way to do this is to go right-click on that folder, go to the 7-zip submenu here, and you can select Add to Archive. Or if you want to, and you can do different settings there, like compression ratio, things like that. If you're happy just zipping the file and taking the default name, which is going to be the directory name, you can just select this Add to Submission Example zip selection. So let's go ahead and see what this does here. So we got some errors here, and I'm not going to re-record this because I think this is good to see. Those errors are because it's actually open in Visual Studio still. So if we wanted to avoid those, let me go ahead and delete that. I'm going to reach back behind and go ahead and close Visual Studio. And this will stop there from being any of that conflict again. Let's try it again, see if we get no errors this time. Perfect, no errors. This here, this zip file, you can see from type it says compressed. This is the file that you'd actually want to upload. So that's as much as it takes if you've got 7-zip installed. If you don't, you can go to Send To and select Compressed Zipped Folder. It's prompting me for a name because there's already a file named Submission Example that we used with 7-zip. I'll go ahead and accept it, just like clicking somewhere else. And you can see that now we have 2 different compressed folders here. Their size is a little bit different because we've compressed them using different utilities, but the contents of these 2 are exactly the same. Either of these 2 compressed files, these zip files, are acceptable for upload. They'd be perfect. They're going to contain everything inside them that is needed for grading. That's going to have your project configuration files, your solution file, your VCX proj file. It's going to have your source code files. If you've been building in release mode, it's going to have your release directory, including any extra files you may have put in there, like Python DLLs or Python scripts. If you've been building in debug configuration, it's going to have your debug folder in there as well. It's all in there, completely encapsulated. Hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Feel free to follow if these videos help you out, and I'll be adding more. Thank you.